Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. And today I thought I would come on and we're going to play with the Layers of Beauty stamp set and some of the other coordinating products for it. As you saw in like the little thumbnail for the video, I created this card. And so we're going to create it using different colors and put a new one together. So I'm going to add my desk in here so you guys can see what I was playing with. And you can see some of the products also. So I'm going to just add you down onto my desk now. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome day. Okay, so it gets super dark for some reason. There we go. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, so like I said, I am starting to peruse the good old annual idea book from Stampin' Up. And so this book goes from May 2024, this month, until April 2025. And there's some really good stuff in here. And I totally love that it will be available all year long and all of those good things. But so where I decided to start to play is on page 57 of this book. And so I love something that can be used in multiple different ways and has a good size for different things. So I think, even though I'm going to create a card today, I think that this stamp set for sure could be used on a scrapbooking layout. You will see that later for sure, because when you look at the size of this, this is quite large, right? So there's lots of stamp sets that I would say can be used in like for both scrapbooking and card making. And so if you're going to invest in something, I think that those are some of the things, right, you might look at investing first. So this is actually our color palette for today. I was just going to measure, though, this stamp set and see how big it is. So I would say it is 4, can't see that, 4 by about 5.5. Like at the very smallest would be 5.5. So you could see that this could very easily be added to a scrapbooking layout, right? Just because of the size, right? It's like as big as my hand. So you could use it for gardening photos. You could use it for any kind of formal occasion. There's lots of things, and by just coloring it different, there's so many different ways you could use it, right? So I think you will be seeing this one over the course of the year. But so, and then I like something that you can color multiple ways too, right? So, and that I'm super excited about getting back to playing with all sorts of different mediums for doing things, right? So today I am going to use ink and we're going to use the masks, but of course you could use pencil crayons, you could color with your stamp pads, you could use alcohol markers. So I have one here where I was just playing around with alcohol markers. So I actually stamped this one in Blackberry Bliss, so the dark purple color, and then I colored it in with alcohol markers. And of course, then there's a little bit of Wink Stella on top, right, to make it sparkly. But so you could see how easily you could totally adapt it, right? Because roses also are like a bazillion different colors, right? So, right, this one is different than this one. That's then in turn going to be different from the one I'm going to create today. And then I actually have a practice one somewhere here, which seems to have disappeared, but that's okay. But so you can order it like a la carte, right? One piece at a time. So there is a stamp set. This is photopolymer, right? So it is clear. There is a set of dies, which are right here. And so this is fun about this set of dies that go with the stamp set, right? So here's the stamp, right? This is the black and white image of the stamp. So there is a die to cut out the big whole floral image. Then there's a second die that cuts out just this rose. So you can see here on this one, I'm going to do it today too. I cut out a second layer. So there is one that is popped up to add a little bit of dimension to the cluster of flowers. And I actually had two sets of this. So I actually just die cut it out and then just trimmed it and added a second layer on the bottom there with dimensionals. But so then there's also these standalone dies, right? So there's all these little branches. And so I cut them out of just coordinating paper. This is the flowering zinnias paper, right? Both of these pieces. So are these leaves. I thought they kind of were the same colors and would look nice in there. So I just kind of tucked those in there underneath. And then this is, because like I said, it's going to take me a while to learn names. Okay, so this is, I love this one. So this, I cut the circle out and then this banner piece, and this is Stylish Shapes dies. So like, look at these. So there's squares, circles, and then banner pieces, right? And so I actually use this one, which is like perfect for a card, but you could also add journaling to a scrapbook page. These would make a great background for a scrapbook page, right? I love like geometric shapes on repeat on the back of a scrapbooking page. So this one I thought will go a long way. Okay, so then there's also the masks. And so these are very interesting. I like these very much. They are well played with already. But, so like I said, you can order it piece by piece, or there's a bundle where you get a savings, right? So, and it's a 10% savings if you order the bundle piece, right? So the bundle is all three pieces grouped together with a 10% savings. So these are the masks, okay? And so you're not going to see very well, but they are a set of 5 masks. They layer, obviously. I love a layered stamp, set of masks, because like basically it makes it's so easy to color, right? Versus where I was playing with my markers, I have to put in my own shading, right? Highlights, all of those fun things. When you use a set of masks, you don't have to do that, right? And so they each have in the top corner a little cutout. So we're going to mark that on our sheet so we can see where we're coloring each time. And then each is a different layer. And there's also a raised number here, which I know I'm not going to catch in the light, but it's got a 1 through 5 up there. And it is raised so that you know which side of the stencil to use, which is quite brilliant because sometimes, right, you can be sitting there and you can flip very easily over your mask backwards, and then you just can't get it to line up with your whatever you're trying to color, and it's kind of a pain. So I thought the fact that the number is there and it's raised so you can tell which side is up was very handy. Okay, so that's what we're going to use today. So I will just tell you, okay, I can move this out of my way now, what I used for this one. And so I did do like a top folding card. We're going to make the exact same card today. And then inside I used one of the sentiments from this stamp set that says, "You make my heart smile." And then on the front is also from this same stamp set and it says, "Grateful for you." There's also one that says, like as a sentiment, there's "Happy Anniversary, God bless, and grateful for you." And also, oh, I forgot this little die here. So look how cute this little die is, right? For just a little tag that you could tuck in to that floral image. And I'm loving the little embossing, or yeah, I guess that's what you would call it, like that the dies are doing on their own. So it's just got a little indentation all the way around that's just little dots. So it's just adding texture to the card without you doing anything, right? So for this card, the layers I used, so I stamped my image in Blackberry Bliss, and then my layers were, so I used Highland Heather twice. So I did like my background, like layer 1 and layer 2 with Highland Heather. The second time I just pushed it a little bit harder and made it a little bit darker. And then I did the really dark color is that Blackberry Bliss again. And then I used Daffodil Delight. And then for my greens, I used Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. And I picked all of my colors based off of the coordinating colors, right, for that, the flowering zinnia paper. So, but now we're going to do a completely different variation of the same thing. We're going to create the same card, just in a different color combination. So this one is, I have stamped it with Smoky Slate to start with. Just like that. Okay, so that's where we're going to start, and then I'm going to do my color combination to create my same card, just different colors. So the colors I pulled out for this one, like I said, I've stamped my floral images with the Smoky Slate. Then I have, for my roses, we're going to do Lemon Lolly, Peach Pie, Calypso Coral, Lemon Lime Twist, and Granny Apple Green. So that's my color combination we're going to play with today. So just so everybody knows too, my comments don't actually show up the same way. So I kind of have to go and look at two different directions for things to come up. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just, it's different now that Facebook's not playing so nicely with everybody. So I'm going to, this time I'm going to do my roses in 3 different shades versus this one, right? I just did the one layer and then made the second layer a little bit darker. But, so now we're going to play. So this is what we're going for. So you could probably see the shine from the Wink of Stella already. So I see Pauline is on. Hello. So this is the color combination we're going for this time. And so my base of my rose is going to be yellow. And then we're going to do some orange and then some darker orange on it. Okay. So here we go. So I did stamp it already so that it was dry before we start to play. Now I'm going to stand up so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so I can move my stamp set aside. Oh, here it is. But we're going to need our sentiment. So I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to pull this off before I move this over to the side and out of my way. We'll do the Grateful for You. Okay, just like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to put a scrap piece of paper down. So you can see I've used this already, and that's where my line was last time. But so let's just line up our first stencil here and see what happens. So these are okay. So it goes on just like that, right? Stamped with smoky slate. Okay, so I'm going to just actually tape my, sorry, it's a lot of white for my camera. So I'm going to actually tape my white piece down to this scratched piece of paper just so that doesn't shift. But I needed to extend it because obviously you can see I played around a lot with this piece of paper. You can see all the cuts out of it. So I've obviously stamped it on this piece of paper quite a few times and then I cut them out, right? So I've got my number one up here. So I know this is my first layer. I'm just going to line it up. Okay. And I love that these are nice, a strong material. So now I can just put a little mark up here so that I don't have to worry now about lining up my stencil the same way each time. Hopefully I have enough room to put down my messy stencils. Let's just move this behind me. Okay, so once my stencils are inked, I'm going to just put them over there. So here's my pile that's not inked. So we're going to start with the lemon lolly. And so the reason I did the ones for today's card before is because I wanted everything to dry, right? Like the ink will dry back and then I wanted to be able to thin cut it out. And that is kind of hard sometimes to do while you are live. But this is exactly what I did the other day to get ready. Okay. So lemon lolly. I'm just going to tap off just a tiny bit. I love that there's the little like daisy like flowers in here too. You could also do those a different color. So here on this one, you can see I did those little flowers a different color than I did the main flower, right? So all I did was mask off part of it, right? So that I was not inking them all the same color. And it was very easy to mask them off. So because I have my line here too, right, I could totally lift this off and look and see if there's enough color. And I'm actually happy with that. So I'm going to put this one aside, put down my brush, close up this color. Okay, so then I have peach pie. And I'm going for mask number 2. So this one is, so when I did this, right, I did these 2 layers the same color. I just pushed a little bit harder so that it was a little bit darker without changing the colors. So I can just line up my lines and then I should be pretty close for my mask. And so now I'm going to do my pumpkin pie. There we go. And you can kind of peek. And if you're happy with it, then you can just pull it off, right? So that's my second color. Then I wanted something just a little bit darker. So we're going to do some Calypso Coral in there. And the third mask. So this does like all the shadows on the roses and then the centers of those little flowers. So for example, if you wanted the centers to be a different color, you could also do like a brown center at this point, right? They're far enough apart that you could totally mask it off very easily. I kind of liked for this one, the purple almost looks brown because it's playing against the yellow. So I thought that was kind of fun. Okay, so here we go. And this is my darkest color. And there's not very much of this, so you don't really have to worry too much about the harsh lines, right? Because it's just like a tiny little bit there. So I'm going to add this to my pile. They wash up, the masks wash up super easily. So that is good to know. Okay, so then for my leaves, we're going to go with lemon lime twist. And layer number 4. So now it's like the body or the big part of all of the leaves. Okay. And if you have to adjust it a little bit, don't worry about it. Like, there we go. And I love that this is kind of like a yellowy green. So I thought it went well with like the colors that we picked for the roses. So that's the like big part of the leaves. And so now I'll just add in the details with Granny Apple Green. And the 5th stencil. And like you can see how easy it would be to make like tons of these. And this would be the fastest way, right? If you wanted lots for putting on a scrapbooking layout. And like I said, the color combinations are like endless, right? Endless possibilities of the colors that you wanted to use. Okay, so I'm lining it up and then it's going to get me pretty close. And there we go. So now our Granny Apple Green. And this is now like my dark part of my leaves, just like our last layer, right, for the flowers was the darkest. And I really kind of liked how the gray played on like stamping it with the gray. Because, okay, so we got all our layers in there. So let's just lift this up now. You can see on the leaves, the gray turns green against that color, right? But it's all gray. I stamped it all with gray so that, because originally I had actually thought I might just like do full watercoloring with it, but I thought this was probably the funnest, fastest way to start. But like I said, there's so many possibilities, right, with the stamp set. So there we go. Okay. We've done all our inking. So then I have this twice. Well, this is actually just one. I just cut it in half. And then I did 1 extra rose, right? So you don't even have to stamp the whole thing. You could just stamp that part, right? Because the thin cut will fit to cut out, right? So then from here, I just thin cut that, right? And then I had a second one that is just then this big one. So I have always stamped and then thin cut did. I don't know that that's really a verb, but if you, with Close to My Heart, did your your thin cutting and then stamping, I would advise maybe you try it this way. I did find it way easier to do my stamping and coloring and then thin cutting versus the other way around. I found that much more difficult, but I also found it difficult before. So if you prefer the other way, you can still do that. Just it's a little bit harder to line some of them up. Okay, so then for this card we're going to make, I have for my base, again, a top folding card, and it is the lemon lolly color, right? We'll just fold that. And then for my layers, so I do have one big piece that I cut out before, and you can see here exactly where I cut it. So I put it on like that. I looked at where it was and I marked it and then just cut it. We might do it a little bit differently this time because I actually have like an extra big piece that I colored the whole thing. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut this here for the bottom. So it's just going to look a little bit different. And then I have one rose for the top to add the extra layer. And then here is my one for the top that we'll cut. Here's the inside for my card. Here is this front piece. So this is just a different pattern from that same paper pack, Flowering Zinnias. So we will add this just like so. And I actually picked this exact same pattern for the middle. Oh my goodness, I got all my emojis came up in the middle of my screen. Makes it difficult to see. So I actually, because I really like that one, this pattern with this color combination. So I have this one that we're going to add, but not just yet. We're going to do our stamping. So I have an inside piece. And just like this one, I added just a little bit of the, like an offcut on the bottom there. So this is the other side of this piece. So we're going to add this to the bottom here. And then we are going to stamp the sentiment. Oh, here it is. My little banner piece that we're going to do the Grateful for You. And we'll do it, maybe we'll do it in this smoky gray. Okay. This one I did in like the very blue, Blackberry Bliss, because it's almost like black, right? And it totally goes with the little stripes there. So that fit nicely on our little piece there. And then, oh, I need a little long sentiment for the inside. So you make my heart smile. Just like that. And I'm just going to do it about here. Ta-da. Okay. And So I'll put that behind me. I do have a few extra leaves here if I decide to add them to this one. We're going to close up the ink and I'm going to move it to the side because I don't need that anymore. And okay, so we're going to just kind of rough this in, and because I have bigger pieces to work with, they might just end up in a different spot. So like I said, I have this extra big piece here, so I was thinking I'm going to add that down here like that. So I'm going to cut from this corner over. So let's go. And I can just feel it disconnect. So on the other one, I just used whatever I had left over, right? Versus I knew it was just like a funky piece where I stamped, and I stamped part of it off my piece of paper, but it was bigger, so I used the whole thing. So then I'll probably cut off this part and we can use it somewhere else, right? Okay, so then here is for the top. Let's just gonna move these over with my ink. Okay, there we go. So this is how much I used of this one, and actually that's probably not a bad spot. So, but I'm just going to drop it just a tiny bit. So, and I have my pencil. That's a super crooked line, but we're going to try and cut it straighter than that. Luckily, my trimmer will cut straight even if I draw crooked. And same thing, right? You can totally feel when it disconnects. Okay. So, and yes, I know this is hanging off. We're going to cut that off after. So, but I want so I actually don't mind the placement of this. So we're going to kind of put this here, and I'm just not going to push down all the way just yet. We'll add this at the top. Like so. And then I'm just going to trim off from the back side the parts I don't need, right? And I did not pop this up because I knew, right, I'm going to pop up the other part. So then I can add this at the bottom. Just like that. I'm going to add my insert to the inside so I don't forget, because that's what I would do. Okay. There we go. Now I can just flip this over, and I'm going to trim off the extra pieces I don't need from the back. And this little piece is the one that I actually added to the inside at the top, because I thought, well, we might as well not waste that. So I just kind of tucked it up here at the top. And I thought it kind of did a little visual triangle kind of thing going on. So there we go. Now let's just, there we go. We'll add some dimensionals and add these pieces on here. And I actually don't think I'm going to add more leaves, but see, these are totally fun. And you could use either side, right? Because they just look like different variations of the green. But I wanted this one to kind of extend out more. And I think it's because this is a bigger image that I have this time that I'm feeling like I don't need extra leaves. But totally fun that they're in there and you can use them, right? I actually am also going to change where the situation, the position of the sentiment here. So I'm just adding dimensionals. We're going to add dimensionals on top of this. I actually probably didn't need to add Wink of Stella onto that, right? Because you can't see it. But, oh well. It was just practice. There we go. So these up. So I'll keep these other parts, right? Because I might use them on another card. And I do still have, right, another image that we just played with today, right? So when this one dries, I will have more parts to play with for a layout or a card. But I did just use the Wink of Stella on just the roses. I didn't do like the little daisy-like flowers, just bigger roses. So oh my goodness, I just stuck it to the bottom of my tray by putting it on top of a dimensional. Too funny. Okay. So see, that's what happens when I try and be a little tidier. I brought up my tray so that I could put my garbage on it, and then so here we go. And I can tell, right, I have a little bit that I'm going to trim off the top there. There we go. So that's fun. And then I have my sentiment. And actually this one I'm going to move over here. So like that. Okay, and then I loved these little, so they're iridescent faceted gems. And they are 2 sizes. So, and they're just like, they're pretty and sparkly. So we're going to add some of those on here, and then we're all done. And these ones, right, I just kind of tucked them in all over the place. So I'm just going to do the same thing in this color variation, right? So there's some bigger ones. And then some little ones. Hey, Gay. I have not seen you on in a while. I've probably been too early for you. I know, the gems are so pretty. And I love the fact that kind of they match everything, right? So, and I did go embellishment crazy. So I'm going to add one small one there and a bigger one right here. And let's see if it says how many are on here. There's 100 on this sheet of paper, so, or a piece of plastic. I think they'll last me for a while. Okay. I think that's it. I was trying to decide if I need to add more, but I don't think I do. Okay. So there we go. So there is the original purple version, and here's the orange and yellow version. And like I said, just by simply like picking different parts of the image, it makes the cards look different. I'm finding I have to count because I'm starting to go overboard with them. Yes. Totally get it. So like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that fun card and all the different pieces. And like I said, anything that you can color or decorate in different ways, and it's versatile enough, right, to use on like a layout and a card, that is a win-win for me as far as I'm concerned. So that's what I've got for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to add them into the comments below, and I will come back and address them. I'm glad you liked it, Cynthia. I thought it was super pretty. I love too that it's an image that you could cut up and use in different ways, and it doesn't necessarily look the same. I think too you could do like a whole border of them down a scrapbooking page with different like variations of colors that would be super pretty, right? Because a garden always has like tons of different color combinations of flowers and things like that. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or drop them in the comments below, and I'll come back and address them later. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.